there, it's Gabrielle here. I'm going to share with you today another alcohol ink technique. I call this one a linear fade. It starts out darker in the middle and fades out towards the sides, and it has kind of this stained glass or broken glass look that I really like. So for today's project, you're going to need some Yupo paper. I'm using medium weight here, but heavy weight would actually even be better. The inks I'm using are Copic inks. Copic or Copic, I'm not sure how you say it. And I'll list the colors below along with links to where you can find them. And I'm using Pitch by Tim Holtz, and I'm also using Pinata brass color paint for my metallics. I'm using isopropyl alcohol. I believe this one was 91%. You'll also need a pipette for your application of the alcohol to the page. So let's get started. Here I'm adding a drop of the blue and a drop of the green ink, and I'm also adding a little bit of the Tim Holtz Pitch Black, and I'm going to add some of the Pinata paint brass color. Then what I'm going to do is take my blow dryer and just dry that little splotch till it's kind of tacky. Now what I'm going to do is just apply some of that alcohol and let it just run from the ink spot down to the edge of the page. Now what I've done here is I've laid out my craft mat, which is waterproof, but on top of that I've laid out some paper towels so that it can absorb the runoff from the paper. So now I'm going to continue adding drops of the alcohol from the center and let it run off the page. You'll notice here, you'll see a little splotch, a couple spots where the alcohol hit in my runoff area, which kind of ruins the look I'm going for. But don't panic when that kind of thing happens, because you're just going to continue making these runoffs from the center until you really like the look of your project. So this is always fixable. Don't panic if something like that happens. You'll notice when I add the alcohol, I don't always let it run directly off of it onto the edge of the page, but sometimes I let it pool for a second and then I let it run down the page a bit so that it kind of picks up the color and lets it run with it. Sometimes if you just do straight alcohol, you won't have enough color in it. So yeah, kind of just maneuver it around and then tilt it towards the tissue there so that it can absorb the runoff. I'm going to be adding a few more color drops as I go, because sometimes I feel like I might not have enough intensity to the colors, and I do like to keep the center fairly dark so that it fades out from the center to light on the outside. As far as what colors I'm using, you can use any color. It doesn't have to be the colors I chose. There's so many beautiful color combinations out there. And this is just an example of it. And as I mentioned before, I will list the colors I've used below, and I'll of course give you links to all the products I've used here so you know where to find them. Okay, so lesson learned here. Try to remember to put your caps back on as you work, because some of them just leak right out and you'll end up with a big mess on your hands. It just takes a second to do and it won't affect your timing in your project. And if you're not happy with the fade you're getting, something you can do is just always dip a little more alcohol on and just kind of push it down off of the page, and then use the blow dryer to try and maneuver the ink a little bit till you have the look you're going for. So as far as the colors I'm using here, I've used the color blue is night blue, and the green I used is ice ocean. Now, after all this, I decided I need another darker green, so I added abyss green. And in the end, I didn't end up using the gray I have sitting there because the black added enough shadows and smokiness to the project. But those are the colors basically I've been using here, and you'll see me off and on adding drops of it to the center. So the whole idea here is to have fun with it. Just relax, work away at it. Sometimes you'll get a run that just doesn't look right. Just go over it again. Or sometimes, like it's happened to me, is I get a really nice run, but trying to fix another part, it covers the part I liked. So just keep going, just keep working away at it. You'll realize at some point that it's just where you want it to be. But in the meantime, just keep working away at it. Enjoy it, have fun with it. also noticed that there's these little bridges along the ends or the edges of my paper from where the water pooled a bit. It's not a really attractive look. That's why I tried to choose a paper a little bit bigger than I want the project to be, so that in the end what I do is crop off those edges so you have a nice clean edge and gives a nice sharp look to your project. I'll show you at the end of this what I did with this one so you can see how it's trimmed. It has a much nicer look to it. hard to know when to stop because I just keep finding little bits of things I just want to change up and add a bit to, but eventually you'll hit the point where you go, yep, that looks good to me. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to do a quick cleanup. The project dries pretty quickly because alcohol ink dries fast. I'm just going to take my paper trimmer and I'm just going to crop the edges of my project just so you can see how the finished page looks so much better when those water lines are cropped out. So I'm almost done here, and you can see this has a nice clean look to it. The colors you see here compared to the photos you'll see of the still shots after are a little bit different because my still shots are taken outside, so you've got the UV light on it, so you got more intense real color, and that's really what the project looks like is what you're seeing here. I hope you enjoyed this project and hope you give it a try. Thanks so much for watching.